St. Columcille was born not very far from this centre, a couple of miles away, at Lochnacu, which is in the parish of Gartan, and he was born around 521. His parents were Ethna, his mother, was from a royal Leinster family, and his father was Phelim, who was a royal Ulster family. So he was born into royalty, which probably led to his early life, which was different from children at that time. He was fostered first with an old priest, Crichnahan in Kilmacrennan, which is a site associated with Columcille, and its older name was Thera Ethna, so it was associated with Columcille's mother. And he was baptised at Temple Douglas, which is about 4 or 5 miles from Gartan. There's a lot of areas of significance in Gartan. We have his birthplace, which is marked with a Celtic cross, which was erected by Cordelia Adair, who was the wife of John Adair, who in the 1800s evicted 44 families from across the far side of the lake at Gartan and Derivay. And to make up for what her husband had done by evicting, she erected a Celtic cross at the site of Columcille's birth. And not far away then is Columcille's Abbey and Holy Well, and we can say that the old abbey there is probably 16th century, but there's a much older abbey. The cornerstones can still be found in the graveyard, and they're 11th century. And we know it would be a nearly monastic site, even though anything from Columcille's era would have been wooden buildings, and nothing of that remains, but they would have rebuilt on the same site. And usually the site had a few things that made it that it was authentic, and it was elevation, which is very well elevated, because from it you can see the 3 lakes in Gartan. It had an old stone cross marking the boundaries, which there's still 2 very old stone crosses there. It had always water on the site, so it probably was a very early monastic settlement. Kilmacrennan then is where he went to school with Crichnahan. And Crichnahan is supposed to have, I like this story about Crichnahan anyway. When Columcille was very young, he learned his letters by his old teacher making a scone of bread, and each day he put a different letter of the alphabet. So Columcille learned very progressively, but he learned from the letters being put on his scone of bread, and as he ate them, he learned his letters.
Columcille is a major character in church history. If one takes out a phone book in any of the English-speaking countries of the world and looks up under Columcille, they will see churches and schools and meeting places named either after Columcille or in his Latin name, Columba. Now, why is that so? Because at the time Columcille founded Iona, the Roman Empire had collapsed. There was only a small nucleus of Christianity left in the Eastern Roman Empire and in central Italy and in Spain. And it was monks from the Columban monasteries that went out and re-evangelized Europe. If you go to any of the cathedrals in Europe, I'd say 90% or maybe more of them, and look up their records there, you will see the original founders were Irish monks. It wasn't just a small thing, it was a major international influence Columcille has on the succeeding generations of Christianity.
He was the person who introduced the written word to Scotland. And before he left Ireland, while he was studying with the monks, at that time there was no books and no pens handy and no nothing else, so they had to make their own vellum from the calf skins or the goat skin and prepare it, which was a long, arduous work to prepare and then they used quills for their writing. So it wasn't that easy to get a book written. But when he was with at one of the monasteries, he's said to have copied a book of the Psalms. And when the book was copied, Finian asked for the copy to be returned to him because he felt that the copy belonged to the book. But the High King at that time made a ruling, and it was probably the first copyright law that was made, to every cow its calf and to every book its copy. But Colmcille didn't adhere to that. He brought his copy back north. He gathered his northern warriors, and they had met the High King's warriors at Drumcliff in Sligo. And a battle was fought there, and it's said that 3,000 was lost in the battle. Now, numbers were a bit exaggerated in some of the writings, but his punishment for that battle was that he would be exiled to Iona and that he would gain as many souls as was lost in the battle. This centre is a very unique centre in that it tells the story of one of the most loved disciples of Gartan, of Donegal and of Ireland, but it is also a great asset to the community because it is a place where close to the lake where people can come for a walk, they can come in and have a visit. But we do need more people to call, and we do know that it is a minority sport, but I think if more people would come and visit, they would maybe realise how important those people who went so many years before us, and you know, if Colmcille weren't as important as he is, we wouldn't be standing here today 1,500 years after talking about him. He would have been forgotten long ago.